Alright, for today you're going to make a bowling game. So the first thing I'm going to do is get rid of the cat. And I'm going to choose a sprite to use for my ball, my bowling ball. So I'm going to pick this one. And then I'm going to use water glasses for my bowling pins, because that's as close as I can get on here. And I'm just going to use one so far. Okay, then for my backdrop, I kind of like the one called Neon Tunnel, because it looks like I'm bowling far away. I'm going to move my ball down, put my cup up. This is way too big for a bowling pin. So under size, I'm clicked on my water glass. Under size, I'm going to knock that down to like a 50% so that my cup can actually, be hit with a bowling ball. Alright, so right now I'm on my ball. I'm going to go to the ball. And as with everything in Scratch, you have to do a when start clicked. And just like yesterday, we're going to tell the ball that it should always start at its current position. So if you haven't moved the ball to the bottom of the screen yet, make sure you do that first. And then you're going to drag out a go to XY. That way, even if I move the ball right now, when I hit the green flag, it goes back to its starting position. Then for my glass of water, I'm also going to put a when start is clicked, go to the current position. So what we're going to do eventually is make the glass tip over when we hit it, and I need it to go back here. Next, back on the ball, we need to tell that ball that when we hit a button on our keyboard that it's going to go and hit our glass of water. And while we're thinking about it, glass water, not really a good name for a bowling pin. I'm going to rename this to Bowling Pin 1. Or, if you want to be a little shorter, just Pin 1. Back under my ball, just like with everything in Scratch, we need a forever if. So forever if. Those are under your control. We need to tell it that when we touch a key on our keyboard, that the ball glides and hits Pin 1 every time. So we do take a little bit of the guesswork out of if you're going to hit the pin or hit the gutter. We're just automatically going to hit the pin. So we're going to go to Sensing, which is light blue. In the very middle says key space pressed, just like it did with the apple and when we did it with our motion. And we're going to change that to a letter. So when I look at my keyboard, I want something that's going to be easy for me to hit, but that I can do 3 different ways. So I'm going to choose the B, because the B is directly above my spacebar. I'm going to say if key B is pressed, then I want my ball to glide up and touch my water glass. So under motion, I'm going to say glide 1 second to, and instead of random position, we're going to click Pin 1. Hit my green flag, touch my B, it hits my water, and it stays there. Now, just like with bowling, we need to have like a ball return. So I'm going to go back and look and say, oh, it starts at x0, y, negative 152. I'm going to duplicate that piece of code and put it underneath my glide 1 second to Pin 1. Test my code again because I changed it. So it hits my glass, it goes back to my start. I'm happy with that. It's no fun to have just one bowling pin. We need a second bowling pin. Rather than go through and add a new sprite from here, I'm going to right-click Duplicate. It automatically names it Pin 2. And right now, you'll see it also duplicated the code. Now my Pin 2 needs to be next to my Pin 1, so I'm going to move that up. And then I could just drag this off and throw it away and bring a new one out, or your XY coordinates are on the screen over here as well. So this Pin 2 for me is at negative 27. So when start is clicked, I tell my second pin to go here, and then I'm going to go back to the ball. Now right now I have if key B is pressed, it glides 1 second to Pin 1, and then it goes back to its starting location. I'm going to put my mouse on the word if, right-click Duplicate, and next to B is N. So I'm going to choose letter N for my second pin. Make sure you put it between the oranges. Do not put it directly under the blue, because remember that nests your code and then you can't use it. So between the oranges, test your code. Hit B, it goes to glass 1. Hit N, oh, it still goes to pin 1. We duplicated, so this has to get changed to pin 2. I hit N, it goes and hits pin 2, and I'm going to duplicate that one more time. Move my location. 44.6 is my current location. Make sure you check your current location. And then back on the ball, duplicate. And the next letter over is M. That's going to be pin 3. So I test my code, B, N, M. Fantastic. My ball goes, it hits all 3 glasses, go back to the start. Still kind of boring right now because there's nothing the glass does to say that it has been hit. I'm going to save because it hasn't saved in a while. Alright, so now on pin 1, I want this glass to tip over if my ball touches it. So, just like before, I'm going to do a forever if. And for this, it's going to be if the ball, or if the glass, because I'm on the glass, so if the glass gets touched by the ball. So under sensing, we have code that says touching mouse pointer. We did this with the falling apples game, where if my Abby touched the apple. So this one we're going to say if touching ball. So if pin 1, because that's what I'm on here, touches the ball, what do I want to happen? Well, I want it to tip over, because bowling pins tip over. They don't just disappear like the apple game did. So under motion, I'm going to tell it, I want you to turn 15 degrees left. And then I'm going to test that because I'm not really sure what 15 degrees looks like. Oh, that's way too far. That's crazy. So instead, let's try 5 degrees. Test it again. Oh, it never went back to normal. So, if that happens to you, you have to put this back to its normal. And it looks like, looking over here, it starts at 90 degrees. If I want it to tip over, I need it to go to 0 degrees. Okay? So, get that back to 90. I can't get it quite there, so I'm just going to type it in. I need it to always be at 90 degrees when my green flag is clicked. So I'm going to say point in direction 90 on green flag. Then I can tell it to turn 0 degrees. And we're going to test that. To go from 90 to 0, it's not actually turning 0 degrees, it's turning negative 90. So we're going to test that. It spun around in circles, but it still tips over, so I'm happy with it. When I hit the green flag, it stands back up. Now we can take this and copy it to our other pins without actually having to recode and without using the backpack because we're in the same game. So I'm going to pull this off, move it over on top of pin 2, and you can kind of see it shake when I hover over it. When it shakes, that means I can drop the code. And then I can do it to pin 3 as well. And there it is. I have to attach it. No big deal. I attach it. And then I double check. Does my pin 2 and 3 look like my pin 1 code? And what I'm missing right now is the point in direction 90. So, just like before, I can drop that code on each of my pins and reattach it. So now, no matter which pin I run, it should look all crazy. And I hit my green flag, it goes back to normal. That's the basics of the game. Now you need to add a scoreboard. The scoreboard is so that you have a way to win. When we win our game, it's going to change our background. So, first thing I'm going to do is pick a new background that I can use. And I'm going to pick a background called Party. Beautiful. And you'll notice it changes it right away because I haven't coded anything yet to say when my backdrop, or what my backdrop should be when I start. You can code that on any of these, or you can code it on the stage. I'm just going to put it on my ball for now, so that I can go, when green flag is clicked, I can say switch backdrop to neon tunnel. Okay, so add that into your ball code. Then hit my green flag, make sure it works. Wonderful. Now I'm going to build a scoreboard. Technically, you could add the scoreboard directly in here. I'm going to build it separately though, so that we can add it to our backpack after. And since my video recorder stops at 15 minutes, I'm going to end this one and there will be a second video just for you to do the score.